All right. So, what do you know about Java, guys? Uh, any sort of apart from this is a programming language, or anything else you know about Java?
So for me, I just know that it is a programming language and we've been using. So lately, even testers need Java so that for upskilling. That is the only thing I have basic knowledge. I am not sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Disha?
Yeah, same here. I just know that it is a programming language we use to code or scripting or automating things.
Disha, your voice is very low.
Yeah, for me also, it is Java is a programming language which we
Okay.
use to write the code for scripting or for automation, automating things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. So that's a programming language. That's first thing, and it was invented somewhere around 1990s, 1991 or something, right? So since then we have seen multiple versions of Java, right? And we right now the latest version of Java is Java 17. It's a stable version with LTS, that is long-term support, right? And we have Java 18, which will be superseded by Java 19 in September 2022, right? So we will be using Java 17 for our coding purpose. All right. So basically, Java comes in three flavors. The first is a Java Standard Edition, which we call as Core Java. Second is Java Enterprise Edition, which we call as Advanced Java or J2EE, wherein you see Spring Boots or uh, uh, other technical features which usually developers use, right? The third is a mobile edition, Java Mobile Edition, that's called as J2ME. Earlier we used to have mobile games, right, which were basically built on Java Mobile Edition. Right? So that time developers used to have J2ME for developing the mobile games, right? And here we will be discussing about the standard edition only. So that's a core Java, and that will be enough for your Selenium coding. So this would be enough for your Selenium coding, right? So that's a bit about Java. Okay. Coming to uses of Java, where exactly Java is being used in the entire world. So even the Oracle says Java is running on 3 billion devices, more than 3 billion devices. I mean, in the entire world, more than 3 billion devices are basically running on Java only. Okay. So the uses of Java is basically we use Java for desktop application development. Then we use Java for web application development, which we see in our organization also. Like most of the applications, web applications are developed around Java only. There are some enterprise applications uh, 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 like banking applications, insurance application, or ERP or something, right? So those are again built around Java only. Some mobile applications also support Java. I mean, some developers still use Java for developing the mobile applications. Then embedded applications. Like Java is being used for any sort of handling of electronic device or mechanical devices. Then we use Java for developing smart cards. So these are the basic uses of Java. There are a lot of other applications also for which Java is being used, right? Okay. Now we will talk about what are basically the comments in Java. So that's the first thing. If you see
Nitin,
this,
just one question.
yeah,
You said Java 17 is currently being used.
yeah.
So entire like right now every organization, every projects use Java 17, and later on once this gets updated like to Java 18, it gets auto updated, or we can still use 17.
No, you can still use 17. And it's not like
Okay.
you have to use 18 only.
Mhm.
You will have some enhancements in 17 itself. So this is for long-term support, and as of now we dates have until 2024. So it will be
Okay.
available until 2024. That's
Okay.
what Java official website says.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, so I have been using Java 13 only so far, but yesterday only I downloaded this Java 17 because that's our latest version available in market, and we can, latest as well as stable version available in the market.
Mhm.
Okay. Before comments, one more thing. So when we talk about programming language, right? So we have lots of programming language. Let's say starting from C, C++, then we have Python, Perl, Ruby, Java, right? So 80% concepts, as in like the data types, variables, operators, control flow, etc., are very common in all the programming languages, right? So it is like what I wanted to say is like if you know Java, then you can easily switch into Python. There would be just a syntax difference, right? So here you declare variable like int equal to 100, int equal to 10. But in Python, the variable declaration syntax would be little different. That's all. But logics, etc., would be same. Like they will also have variables. They will also have data types, and even data types are also common. They will also have control statements. Control statements, and then other things also. So if you know about C, we used to have array also in C and C++. We used to have strings also in C and C++. And here also we are having arrays and strings. But like how those are developed, as in how those will be used by the user, that is a bit different. The syntax is different. There is a difference in the syntax. Okay, so going forward, if there is a requirement for you to learn Python, you can easily learn Python if you know the basics of Java. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Another thing about like there might be some changes in the naming convention. As in C, we used to call a method as a function, right? But in Java, we call them as method. We do not call as function. So that's a standard terminology we use. So there might be some other likewise there might be some other differences also, but eventually the logics would be same. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, nothing from my end.
Yeah. So if you wanted to take notes of this, you can have a notes also. But I'll be sharing the soft copy of this by tomorrow. Yeah. All right. So comments. That's the first thing in Java. So let me just open the Eclipse. So Java basically supports two type of comments. The first is single line comment that starts with 2 forward slashes, and then second one is a forward slash followed by star, and then star followed by forward slash. So that's the multi-line comment. So whatever the text written within these, within these codes will be commented, and it won't be applicable for execution. So you write anything. This is this is my first class. So it won't be available for execution. You can write anything inside this. And for single line comment, let's say this, my name is nothing likewise. So we can have single line comment as well as multi-line comments. So Java supports two type of comments. First is single line comment, and second is multi-line comment. So the question is, why comments are required? Why do we really need comments in Java?
Sometimes to test the code, which is, I mean, if I need to change something and
So your
I
voice
need
is
to
very
test
low.
it. Is it
Is it? It
audible
is now.
now?
It is now. It is now better.
Yeah, okay. So we use comment section. Like I want to change one logic, but I want to keep the previous logic as it is. Okay. Then I will comment that first logic, and I'll test the second logic. I mean, yeah, I'll comment the first logic and I'll test the other logic, which is new.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay,
Or
Satara?
if for writing a code, if I need to give some title, then I'll use single line comment.
Okay. What about you, Satara?
Yeah. So say for example, I have 10 lines of code and I don't want to execute fifth line. I just want to execute all the other line of code except one line. Then I'll use a single line comment so that the other gets executed and those the commented one won't get executed.
Okay. Okay. So that's a one use of commenting. Like you can comment to for non-execution. Second reason, that is kind of the important reason why we have comments. Let's say I am the one who is writing the code, right, for one of the project, right, and somewhere in the middle of the project I am leaving the organization. Now my manager is asking you to pick up the further development of the application, right? So now since I have written the code in my language, how will you understand whether the what code is written, how the logics are implemented, etc., right? So that's a best practice to write something about your logic, right? So what you are doing here, like you are declaring a variable. What you are doing here, you are writing a common function, and from where you are calling that common function. So that's a best practice to comment each and every line of code in programming language, so that if anyone else joins your team and he or she wanted to understand the program by itself, by referring the comments itself, he or she can understand your code completely. So commenting makes the program readable and understandable. Making sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So commenting, I mean, that's a best practice which every developer is following and should follow. Makes the program readable and understandable. Right? So that's about comments. You understand by this, right, Disha, Sitara, like how to make the program readable and understandable by commenting?
Yeah, I understood.
Okay. What about you, Sitara?
Yes, Nitin.
Okay, fine. Now the next topic in our list is data types, right? So the class would be ending in next 5 minutes. Before that, I'll just tell you what all data types we have in Java. Any idea about the data types? What all we used to have in other programming languages?
It is integer, character, varchar,
Character, varchar, okay,
double,
double, okay,
Float, I believe.
float,
yeah, float.
okay. What else?
This is all I could remember.
Mhm, okay. Have you heard about byte,
Yeah, right.
short,
Yes.
long,
Long, correct. Yeah.
string? Then we have Boolean. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
correct.
basically in Java, we have two types of data type. First one is primitive data type and second is non-primitive data type. Primitive data type and second is non-primitive data type. So in interview, they do ask what all primitive data types you have in Java. What all non-primitive data types you have in Java, right? So we have byte, then int, then short, then int, and then long as a primitive data type. Okay. Non-primitive data types would be string, Boolean. We have other data type also here, float and double. Okay. So these four data types are used to store integer value, right? So it cannot hold any floating value, any value which is having, which is a float in nature, right? So if I try to store int a equal to 10.5, it will give syntax error. See, there is a syntax error here in this line of code. There is a type mismatch, cannot convert from double to int. So your program will not execute. If you try executing this program, it will say error exists in your code. Yes, if you still do that, it will throw an exception. But rather, it will not execute itself. There is a compilation problem. Okay, so if you try to store this value in integer type of variable, it won't store. Yeah. So let's take a break of 5 minutes and then we will rejoin.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So basically, we were talking about the data types, right? Disha, you can hear me, right?
Yes, right.
All right, yeah. So basically, In books, what definition you find of data type is? Data type is a classification of data of type of data that a variable or object can hold in computer programming. Yeah, so basically data type defines the characteristic of a data, as in integer define the characteristic of data as in it can store only the integer value. Float can define the characteristic of data as in it can store only the decimal values, right? And then char can define the characteristic of data as in it can store only the character type. It can't hold integer, it can't hold float, decimal, it can't hold a string, right? So that's the uh, uh, classification of type of data, right, which a variable or an object can hold in a computer program. Okay. Coming to the integer type, as in the data types which can store the integer values. So we have 4 data types. The first one is byte. The size of byte is 8-bit or 1 byte or 1 byte. So that's why it is called as byte. Okay. The size of short is 16-bit or 2 byte. The size of int is 32-bit or 4 byte. Size of long is again it's very long. It's I think 16 byte. So 16 byte. So it's very long in size. Okay. Now the range of this would be minus 128 to plus as in 127. So how does it come as 2 to the power 7 minus 2 to the power 7 to 2 to the power 7 minus 1. So this is the range of byte. Okay, if you calculate this, it would be 128 only, 2 to the power 7. And if you calculate this, it would be 2 to the power 7 minus 1 would be 127. Okay, the last bit is reserved. They have kept it reserved, right? So it's not available for user to use. Similarly, the size of short would be 2 minus 2 to the power 15 to 2 to the power 15 minus 1. Okay, the size of it would be minus 2 to the power 31 to 2 to the power 31 minus 1. That's a long range we have for storing integer value. Okay, let's go to Eclipse and try putting some data in variable. Right, so if I try byte b equal to 100, you can easily store, right? If I type byte b1 equal to 200, it will give you error. It can't hold any value more than 128. So that's why it is giving. Please cast this to please change the type of b1 to int. Making sense?
Yes.
Okay. If you change this byte to short, there won't be any error. It just says that the local variable which you have defined is not been used. That's the warning. So whatever you see in yellow here, that's a warning. and whatever you see in red here, that's a error. Okay, so it's just a warning. You can print also directly. See, so B, see, so B1. Okay. So it is printing byte as 100 and short as 200. Right? We generally use integer only because byte and short are the ranges of these two data types are short. So we generally use int only for our regular programming. Right. So the range of this would be, you can just check it on Google. So that's minus 2 to the power 31 to plus 2 to the power 31 minus 1. So that's a huge range which we see. Got it. Coming to the character type. So character, where you will store the characters, right? So if you want to store only one character, then where will you store? So for that we have character type of data, wherein you can store even only a single character. That's within a single quotes, right? So whatever is written within a single quote, that will be considered as character only. So char c equal to a, char c1 equal to, let's say, 1. So whatever is mentioned within the single quotes, that will be considered as character only. Okay. Next we have
just one question over here.
Yeah.
As we have mentioned, c equals to a, that is fine. It is an alphabet, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and c1 is 1. So 1 also, it is a character.
So one would be, basis the ASCII or Unicode pattern, the value of one would be converted in character only. So whatever you mention within the single quotes will be considered as character only.
Can we do CISO so that we can see?
Yeah. So if I write C, C1. Yeah, so
okay.
So for C it is printing A, for C1 it is printing B.
Okay, so anything under quotes would be considered as
character only.
Character. Okay.
Yeah, if you write like this, then it will give a error. So by default, Java considers whatever is mentioned in double quotes as a string. So it will give you error that you need to change the type to string. It's saying change type of C1 to string.
But you said as some ASCII value, right? So I was expecting that in output it will give ASCII value.
No, it won't give ASCII value. It will print the character itself.
Okay. The value which we have passed or
the
assigned.
value which we have passed, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have float and double for storing decimal values. Let's say 10.25. Double we have, let's say d equal to 99.86, right? So these two change type of F to double. Why is it so? Okay, not sure if they have done any changes in Java 17, but it was supported earlier. Right? So range of float
Do we need to write F or something after 10.25?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we will have to write F. Yeah. So when once we write F, then it will be considered as floating value, and once when we don't have to give any D here. Okay. So the ranges are different for float and double. So I will have to check what are the ranges, but usually we use double only during our program. Right. Float we rarely use. We use double only. within the programming. So you can print also, so it will directly print your values. So 10.25 is the value of F, 99.86 is the value of D. Okay. What we have discussed, long character float double. Okay. Now coming to the most important data type, that is a string, right, which we frequently use. So for writing any string, we use a string data type, and that we can put under double quotes. So let's say this is Nitin, right? So you will have to put under double quotes, and your string is, you are declaring this as a string variable. Okay. Now we can perform various operations on a string, right? So there are plenty of operations which we can perform on a string, like comparing a string with another string, concatenating, then equals. There are plenty of operations which we will see while we will be discussing a string in detail. Yeah. So that's how the string works. Okay. If you want to print this, you can print this using, and you don't have to put anything, just print a str. It will print this is nothing. Yeah. One more thing here, within CISO, whatever you write within double quotes, that's considered as a string only, and Java compiler prints that directly, right? So I want to write here, let's say Selenium and Java. So it will be printed directly. You don't have to do anything. It will be printed directly. So whatever you write within double quotes in CISO, it will be considered as a string and it will be printed, Selenium and Java. And if you want to if you want to print this str also in CISO, how you will concatenate this with str? So let's say what I want.
Can you pardon? Yeah.
So what I want output is Selenium with Java. Selenium with Java. Taught by Nitin. So let me just change this string. I want this output on with this CISO. How will I get that?
We need to concat that.
Okay. Concat using
Plus.
Okay. Then
Plus str.
plus str. Okay. Sitara?
Selenium with Java, comma. A comma is there, right? So put comma after Java.
Okay.
And put space as well if you want.
Yeah. That's right. Sitara, you are understanding, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if I save that and start executing, it will print Selenium with Java, followed by space and then taught by Nitin. Yeah. So this is a concatenation operator which we use frequently while generating output.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll see that during our operators also. The next data type is Boolean. Okay. So Boolean. What it does, it stores only true and false. Boolean b equal to true, Boolean b1 equal to false. It does not store anything else. Right? So if you try storing b2 equal to string, it will give you error. If you try storing b3 equal to character, it will give you error. So it can store only true and false. So we use that during our if else, decision making, and during our Selenium programming also, right, where we would be require only Boolean only. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now string Boolean. Yeah. So these are the frequently used data types, right? So for storing integer value, we use integer. For storing character, we use char. For decimal values, we use double. For string, we have only string. As in, we have string buffer and string builder also, that I'll discuss later. So let me write that also. String buffer, string builder, that also we use. Right. So strings are by default immutable. Okay. Immutable as in you cannot change the value of a string. A string buffer and a string builder both are mutable. Both are mutable objects. We'll discuss that in detail because that's an important question, right? So in most of the interviews, they do ask why we have string as immutable object. What is the alternate to make them mutable and all? So there are some security reasons. That's why the Java developer have made string as immutable. We will discuss that in detail. Then we have Boolean. So Boolean will have
Immutable as in we cannot change, right?
you cannot change the value of a string once
Okay.
defined.
Okay.
Okay. So Boolean can have value as true, false. So these are the frequently used data type: integer, character, double, then string, and then Boolean. So memorize that. Yeah, we will be frequently using those. Now the third topic is Java modifiers or access specifiers. Okay, so why we write here public, guys? Any idea why we write here public, public, public? Why? What it is public?
So that it can be used throughout the code.
Throughout the code. Okay. What if I write here private? Then
So this logic will only work for this particular class only.
okay. What if I write protected here?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay, so basically we have 4 access specifiers, right? So let me just write fires. So by default, every class is a public class. Public class as in anyone from anywhere can access this class. So that's a public class, right? So you don't have any any sort of foundation, right? So anyone can access my class. Okay. Other access specifier we have is private. So only you can use your class. No one else from outside can use your class. Even the other class within the same package cannot use your class. So, before that, see, this is a project which we have created, Selenium batch. Inside this is a package, basics. So this is a hierarchy, and inside this we can create several classes. So basics inside this basics I can create demo 1, demo 2, day 1, day 2, any short. And inside project I can create a similar kind of several packages also. Okay.
Okay.
Understanding the hierarchy. So this is a project. Inside project I can have several packages, and inside a package I can have several classes.
Okay. Understood.
Disha?
Yes, I'm getting it. Yeah.
Okay. So when I say private, as in the scope of that will be within that class only. It won't be accessible even by another class of same package also. If I create another class within this package, and if I define any method here with private access specifier, you cannot access that method in the another class of the same package also. Okay, so that's a private access specifier. Public is you can access within same class, you can access within same package, within another package, or when maybe or within outside your current project also, right? So that's a feature of the public class. Protected, the third one is protected. So protected can be accessed only within your packages. Okay, so whatever you define as protected here, it will be available to use only within the same package. It won't be available to use outside the package.
Okay, so I have two packages, basic 1 and basic 2.
Yeah.
And both has each class.
Yeah.
And say, for example, I have marked one class in demo Java as protected. I can only use that only in demo Java, not in other classes.
Only in the classes within the basics package.
Oh, okay. So if I have two classes in single package, I can use it.
Yeah, you can use.
But in different, it don't. Okay.
Yeah. So you cannot use in the different package.
Okay.
And the last one is default. So default as in if you don't give any package, it will be by default only. Okay. So that's about access specifiers. So basically, the definition what we see in books for access specifier is it used to set the access levels of classes, variables, and methods. So access specifier as in used to set access levels of classes, variable, and methods. So a class will also have a specifier, right? Variable will also have a specifier, right? So if I declare any variable here with public int a equal to 10, you cannot do inside main method. You have to keep it outside main method. Okay. So I can declare a variable also with a access specifier. I can declare a package class also with access specifier, and I can declare a package also. So sorry, a method also with access specifier. So main is a method, and I can declare that with access specifier. Apart from main, if I have any other method, public void add method, so that also I can specify using this public access specifier. Making sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we have access specifier. Then we have non-access specifiers. So non-access specifier as in keywords in Java, which you cannot change. So we have about 46 keywords in Java, right? Like static, abstract, final. So these are the keywords in Java, which we will see going forward. We will see. So these are the important keywords in Java. All right. Coming to Java variables. So before that, I'll just give a pause here. Any doubts so far?
No doubts, but just about protected default access specifiers, we need to play around it a bit so that I'll understand.
Yeah. So that's
better.
just an
Yeah.
overview. Disha, we'll have a detailed discussion on this.
Yeah, right. Because public is fine; it can be used anywhere. But
Yeah. So just overview. So a variable as in that's a temporary location within a program, temporary memory location within a program, right? So when you write int a equal to 10, so 4 bytes will be assigned to this variable inside the memory, Java memory, and that would be a temporary allocation of memory to this variable. So a here is a variable, right? It is having the value as 10. Definition of this would be a named memory location to store or hold memory data, temporary data within a program, right? So where we store the temporary data, in which memory the data is stored?
Heap memory.
Okay, heap is something very, very, very much related to Java. In common language where the temporary data is stored.
I'm not aware of it.
Yeah, not sure.
So you would have heard about RAM, right? Random access memory.
Yes.
Yeah. So whatever you declare as variable will be stored temporarily in RAM only, right? And once you close your program, the memory will be released. Okay. So when you write like int a equal to 10, so 4 bytes of memory will be reserved for storing this variable. Okay, since size of int is 4 byte, so 4 byte in memory will be reserved to store this variable. Okay.
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 So we have ROMs also, right? Read-only memory. So ROM will
So
have,
that 4 bytes will be stored in RAM.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and we have read-only memory also in computers like your hard drives, your compact disk, or floppies we used to have, right? Earlier, we have DVDs nowadays, USB. So these are the read-only memories. Okay. Now variable in Java, I mean we have 3 types of variable in Java. First is static variable. Second is local variable. Third is class instance variable. Static variables are also called as class variable. Okay. So on this note, any idea about any sort of variable? What is local variable? What is instance variable? What is a static variable or class variable?
No.
Okay. Let me. Okay, so we have one main method here. Let me create one more method. Let's say public void, let's say add method. And I have one variable called a here, and a equal to 10 and b equal to 20, and I am just printing this a plus b. I can print directly, right? A plus b I can print directly. All right, guys. And x equal to 20, y equal to 30. I have something called x plus y here. Let's say I have couple of variables here. Let's say int p equal to 5, and q equal to 10. Okay, so if I am not writing anything before this, then it would be non-static variable, right? So to make that static, I will have to write static explicitly. Don't go in that detail as of now, you will be confused otherwise. So I'll just give you the example of local and global variable. So class variable or global variable, we call them as a global variable also. Okay, so if I run this program, let me save this. So I will have to click public static and call with class name also demo dot add. Okay, so let me add some more lines. X plus y and p plus q. So, see, this is a class. I have declared two variable int p, int q at class level, right? Right after the declaration of the class, I am declaring this variable. So those variable will become a class variable or global variable or static variable. Since I am declaring them as at class level. Int x and int y are within your method, inside your method only, right? So those are your local variables. Okay. Similarly, int a and int b both are declared within method only. So again, this will be local variable. Now, when we say class variable or global variable or static variable, those can be accessed by any method of the class, right? So even this class can this method can access p and q, and this method can access p and q. That's why those are global variables. It can be accessed by any methods of the class. Making sense, guys?
Yeah. So P and Q will be globally available, right?
Yeah, globally available. Yes, it can be accessed by any method of the class.
Okay.
Whereas
Okay.
X and Y are available only to use within this method only. Okay, so I can use X and Y within this method only.
Hmm.
Yeah, and similarly A and B I can use only within this method. Within this method.
Okay. Yeah, that is the reason it has error.
Yeah, it has error. So scope is only within this method. So you cannot access A and B from here. So it says cannot be resolved to a variable. So this method does not know where A and B is. A and B is somewhat he does not know anything about these two variables. So that's why it is giving error. Similarly, here X and Y will give the same error, cannot be resolved to a variable. Okay, so if I try to run this program, it will give error. It will say you cannot run this program, error exists and required full text. Okay, now if I want to declare the same variable in another method, I can do so. If I write int x equal to 100 here, that's absolutely okay. Int y equal to 200 here, that's absolutely okay. Now it will become a local variable for this method. Similarly, here if I want to write int a equal to 50, that's absolutely okay. And b equal to 40, that's absolutely okay. Right? So we don't have any duplicacy here. Right? So a, b, x, y both are local to this method. Similarly, a, b, x, y all are local to this method. Okay? But if I try to declare p, it will give you error because we have p already. It's a static because I will have to. It will become local variable actually. It won't give error. It will become local variable.
And maybe that is because you have entered 50 instead of 5. See, no.
No, not that is not the reason.
Okay, since it is already globally available, it will be available in the method as well. You can use it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I print this,
But what would be the result then? Because initially the value of p is 5, right?
yeah. So it will take the value locally. Let me just check also.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
See, now it is showing p as a taking p local variable and q for a global variable. You can see by color as well.
Yeah.
P and
So it
q.
will take the value locally.
Mm-hmm.
So A and B, we have 50, 40, so it is printing 90. X and Y, we have value as
20, 30, so it is
20, so it is
50.
printing 50. P, it is taking locally, and Q from
50
globally. So that's why it is printing
globally.
60. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And again, A and B is printing 30. X and Y 300, and P and Q both are taken from
Globally.
global. Then it is printing 50. Okay. So that is how the local variables are global variables are there.
So public variable can be defined separately with separate values within the different methods as a local variables. So, right?
Yeah. So look, public variable, we
So
don't have
global,
anything sort of public variable.
sorry, global variables.
Yeah.
So global variables can be a local variable as well, in short.
Yeah. I mean, you can have the same names within
Same.
method also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So where we were about the local and global variables. Okay. So it's clear, right? There is a clear difference in class level variable and global local variable. We have one more thing called instance variable that we will see once we start with object oriented programming. So instance as in when you create object of a class, right? That time whatever the variables you declare called as instance variable. So we'll see that in once we start with oops concepts. So coming to variables here now, what Java says, only explicit declaration of variable is allowed in Java. Explicit declaration. Allowed in Java. And no implicit declaration. Some language does support implicit declaration also, but Java does not. Okay, so what do you mean by explicit and implicit? Am I audible, guys?
Yeah, not sure.
Okay. All right. So explicit as in when I write int a equal to 10, that's the explicit declaration. You are declaring clearly that the data type of variable a is integer type, and you are storing 10 as value. That's the explicit in declaration. When you write b equal to 20, it will give error. This is an implicit declaration. Java does not know what is the type of this variable, right? So even though if you declare a string or integer or character, it will not know what you are doing, basically doing. So this is the implicit declaration. Yeah. So to make this understandable by Java, I will have to write like this: int b equal to 30. This is an explicit declaration.
So having a data type is an explicit declaration, right?
Yeah, having a data type. Yeah, that's correct. And when Java should know what type of data you want to store in this variable beforehand, before
Okay.
using that variable itself.
Okay, okay.
So when I write int a equal to 10, initially what I am doing, I am declaring a variable with a as value, a as a name, and then 10 as value. Now when I write int a equal to 20, now value of a is changed. Earlier it was 10, now it is 20. So that is allowed because you already have the declaration in place, right? A is int. But
Okay,
you cannot
okay.
write like a equal to 10 direct and then a equal to 20. So it will give you error at compile time only.
Okay.
Okay.
If int a equals to 10 and a equals to 20, then it will take value as 20 only, right?
Yeah, the latest value of a would be 20. Yeah, so if you print that, it will be 20. If you print that, it will be 20. Okay. And if I print here, then what will be my value? Okay.
First it will be 10, then it will be 20 in the output console.
What about you, Tara?
Yeah, since we have already printing at the first, after the declaration, it will print 10, and then for second value, it will be 20.
Correct, yeah. So first it will be 10, and then it will be 20. So this is called implicit declaration. Sorry, explicit declaration. I think Python supports implicit declaration. I'm not very sure, but the syntax of Python supports implicit declaration. Okay. So clear. One second. So int a equal to 10. Instead of this, if I write int a, I'm declaring this as variable a equal to 100, b equal to 200, int c equal to a plus b. So which one is correct? Which one is not correct? Can I print value of c here?
C won't be correct because B is implicit. and it has error.
Okay.
So
If
it might
I
take
type
only
this on
a value.
Notepad, you will be able to recognize, right? The problem with Eclipse is it gives you error beforehand. You can check the errors there itself. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's correct. Yeah. So A is declared already, and B you have not declared. So this will be correct or incorrect?
Incorrect it is.
Okay.
But my question is, B doesn't have a value, right? I mean, we haven't declared it correctly, so B doesn't have, but we still have A as 100. So will it take 100, or since we have used operator, it won't consider, and it will throw an error?
That will throw an error because this statement itself is incorrect. You are adding something with A which is not
A.
explicitly declared.
Hmm.
Yeah. So Java does not know what the type of this variable. Right. So while doing developing the programs or while coding, a developer do this kind of mistakes. They do not declare the data type of a variable, and then this kind of problems occur.
Okay.
Okay, so Java does not know what is the data type of this variable. That's why it can't print. Even this statement itself is incorrect, and this will not print it. This program itself is an erroneous program. Okay. If I write int b, then it is fine. The problem is resolved. Okay. Now the next example for this would be like, let's say int a equal to 10, int a and a equal to 100, int b equal to 10, int x, y, z, int p equal to 5, q equal to 6, r equal to 10. Is this all correct?
Int xyz, it is declared, but it doesn't have any value.
Okay.
P is equal to 5, which means we have assigning 5 into P. Q 6 is equal to Q is right, but then after colon, what if
If we would have given
second sentence?
comma, then the R would be the correct value. I mean,
So I should replace this semicolon with comma. Is it?
comma, yeah.
Then it would be correct.
No, even then it will be, we are not declaring, right? Okay, is it correct? Oh yeah, we have used int at first itself.
Yeah.
Right, understand.
Yeah, so earlier there was a semicolon, and Java, what Java was understanding, that this is the end of line, and we don't have any data type for R.
Right.
Correct? Yeah, so if we have comma, then R is absolutely fine, and all declaration in Java are fine. We can write like int a, and then we can assign the value later. We can assign the value in the one line itself. We can declare multiple variables with same data type, and we can declare multiple variables with same data type having different values. All declarations are correct in Java. Making sense?
Yes.
So
Yes.
implicit declaration of variable allowed in Java, no implicit declaration. Whereas I think Python supports implicit declaration. Guys, just one question. Why you chosen Java to learn? Because nowadays even Python, you know, is being recognized as good programming language, and uh,
Yeah, that is true. But what I mean, I'm just giving my opinion. What I heard and what I had seen was in Python, everything is, I mean, bit easy, like not giving data types and everything, right? But in Java, the concepts are the, I mean, OOPS concept or anything that is a core. If you, as you said in the beginning of the lecture, if you learn Java, you can learn any language.
okay.
I mean, you can switch to Python as well.
Sitara, what's your opinion here? Why Java? Why
Yep.
not Python?
Same for me. See, for me, anyway, any language would be new. And I am not sure. I was not very confident about Python because I honestly don't know about like how it works, how is it is used, anything. Java is something I preferred because I know if I can understand Java base, at least I can work out and learn other languages as well.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's correct. When Java is very complicated language. And initially, if you are learning it first time or maybe for second time also, you will need time to understand that.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's the reason most of the people they do not go for Java. Nowadays we do have flexibility, right? So you can start your automation career even with Python. So I mean, people are learning Python and they are starting automation career. Okay. But that's a great choice. You are choosing the difficult thing. Right? It will take little time, right? But once you have good hands-on on Java, you will be very confident, right? And interviewer prefer the candidate who are having good knowledge in Java, right? So I mean, you need to have patience, and you will have to do a lot of practice, guys. That's even I told Disha also yesterday. You will have to do at least 1 to 1.5 hour of practice every day, right? Even if there are no assignment, then I mean you can ask for the assignment from me. You can check the assignments from the over the internet also. But you need to you know uh, you need to start coding, right? I mean, without coding nothing will work. I will explain this example here, but when you start writing this in your Eclipse, you will feel difficulty. Okay, so
Yeah, right.
yeah, so what I will do, even I mean from next weekend onwards, I'll give some example right away in the class, and then I'll ask you to write the program. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah. So by that only, I mean, initially you will feel comfort for writing the program. Okay. Initially, those would be easy only, but I mean, for you to have good hands-on on Java, you need to start practicing right away. Okay. So that's on this thing variable. Next is operators in Java. So we have operators in Java. First, we have arithmetic operators. So before that, what is the use of operators? Any idea, guys? What is the use of operator?
To do operations like minus, plus,
Okay. Okay.
division, any arithmetic operators are used. Then assignment operators like equal to, like we have written int a equals to 10, so it is assigning some value.
Okay.
So like basically
Yeah.
assigning and calculations.
Okay. So operators are basically used to perform mathematical operations. Comparison operations and logical operations. in any of the programming. This is a common definition for operators,
Yeah.
right? We do have operators
Correct.
in all the languages. Right? Then we have 6 categories of operators in Java. Right? First one is arithmetic operator, wherein we have plus, minus, multiplication, division, etc. Right? Then we have assignment operators. Then we have comparison operators. Then we have logical operators. Okay, so basically these 4 are enough for Java, right? Apart from this, we have a bitwise operator. Then there are some miscellaneous operators also, which are part of Java. Okay. So we will have a thorough understanding of these 4 operators. Let's we start with the operators. All right. Next is control flow. Java control flow. Okay. So control flow, as in whenever there is any condition which you want to handle or to make any decisions, right? So there are some control flow statements. Okay, so for control flow, we have if else and switch. Then we have loop statements. For like if you want to run a same statement again and again for multiple iterations, use looping. So we have while loop, we have for loop, we have do while loop, and then for each loop. That's for advanced Java. Okay, we will see for each loop. Yeah, while, do while, and for loops are somewhat, you would have seen earlier also, but for each loop is something is having different syntax, and it's quite useful, right? The syntax is quite easy and it's quite useful. Then we have for making decisions and for control flow, we have branching statements in Java. Right, so we have break and continue, and return. So break we use with switch, continue again we use with switch, return is used while whenever we want to return any value from a method. Okay, so that's about Java control flow. I think that is enough for today. So any questions so far on this, guys?
No.
No questions.
No questions. Right? So and you are able to understand, right? It's quite easy,
Yes.
as in this is the basics of Java only. I mean, you will start getting issues when we will start with arrays, right? So since then the Java becomes difficult. Until if and else you can, or maybe until for loop you can easily understand Java.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we get assignments every day, it will be beneficial for us, I guess, right, Sitara?
Yeah. Especially with loops and arrays.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what I will do once we have something done concrete by tomorrow, then by tomorrow I'll share this some assignments.
Okay, sure.
Okay. We have
Yeah.
10-15 minutes, Sitara, if we can check that configuration. Okay. Sitara, any doubts from your side?
No, Nitin.
All right. So today first we will look into the Java syntax part. So that's somewhat very important, right? So let me just open that. So Java, guys, is a case sensitive language. That's the most important thing. It's a case sensitive. So if you write Java or if you write Java, so both are different in Java. Whereas some other languages like I think VV Studio is not a case sensitive language. So Java is a case sensitive language. So if I take the example, so if you declare int a equal to 10, or if you declare int a equal to 10 or 20, both are different in Java. So it is a case sensitive language. All keywords in Java, all keywords as in what we discussed yesterday, like final, abstract, if, else, these are all keywords in Java. Should start with small case letter. And all reserved words like true, false, null are also a small case letter actually. It's not it should not start with lowercase. It's a small case letter only. So if you write final as in small case, then it will be considered as a keyword. If you write final as this is a variable for Java. This is not from reserved. This is not a keyword for Java. Or if you write final, this is again a variable for Java. Okay. Next is first letter of class should be a small letter. Sorry, should be uppercase letter. Class should be uppercase letter. So whenever you create a new class, you give a name. So if I give a name here starting with a small case, immediately Eclipse will say this class name type is described by convention. Java name type name usually start with an uppercase letter. So I mean there is no error as such, but it's a good practice to have a class name starting with uppercase letter. Yeah.
Yes.
So as an example, you can consider sample is incorrect, right? Class name sample is incorrect because starting with a small case letter. Class name sample is correct. It's starting with uppercase letter. First program is incorrect because starting with lowercase letter. First program is correct starting with uppercase letter. Or first program, this is also correct. This is starting with uppercase and in between you can have other uppercase letters also. Okay. Now the next is Java method should always start with lowercase letter. If you see main method here, that is all starting with lowercase letter only. or if I write any other method, let's say I am writing any other method like public void add method. So this is fine. If I add here, it will give you a, it won't give you a warning, but that's a good practice to start a method name with lowercase letter. Java program execution always starts with main method. So if I do not have any main method, I won't get any output, right? So this is mandatory for any program execution. So this is what the mistake which Disha was, doing in the previous program.
Yeah, correct.
Step.
I had initialized the variables in the class, so I got it.
Yeah. So let's say I have this as main method, right? And I am doing some operations in this method. Int a equal to 10, int b equal to 20. Then I am printing a plus b. Okay, so there is nothing in the main method, right? If I run this program, you will not get anything. See, you don't get anything. Or if I comment this main method, or I delete this main method, let's say I delete this main method. So your program will not give any error because you are not making any mistakes synthetically, but your program won't run. When you won't get error. See what error is saying, main method is not found in class basis. Now please define the main method. Okay, so at the time of interview, interviewer can ask you like whether main method is necessary for a Java program or not. So yes, it is necessary, but in case of test-ng, right, when we use test-ng for running our scripts, so while automation, when we run our scripts using test-ng, you don't use main method. So how the program runs then? We have an annotation called @test that we use with every method. So what we do right now, it won't work because we don't have test-ng integrated as of now, but we have @test methods. So what compiler will do, it will understand that some methods are denoted with @test annotation, then it should execute these methods. We'll see when we will be doing test-ng and Selenium. Okay. Every Java statement step instruction should end with semicolon. Okay, so that's the that's how the Java understands the end of line of a code. Okay, so in once we are done with every statement, we are appending a semicolon there, right? So then only the new line starts. If I don't add this, then it will give a compiler will give an error that please insert semicolon to complete block statement. Or I can do comma also. I can put comma also. So both the line will be considered as single line only.
Okay, so int a is equal to 10 and then comma int b in the second line will be considered
No,
as
no,
a
it
single
won't be
line.
considered. When
Okay,
we will
you
have
have to
to
write in
remove,
single
yeah,
line.
remove int. If you can remove int, if you are removing it, then it will be considered as single line.
Hmm.
So writing this or this is same.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Getting writing this and this is same. If you input int here, then what Java will say, see, boss, you have already defined integer here, right? With again you are defining integer, then it's a new line only. So this is a problem. Okay. Every code block, as in condition block, like if else, loop block, wherein we see while, do while, for each, method or constructor should be enclosed with curly braces. Right? So in case of if, we have seen, see, this is a method, right? Public add method. So it's starting with open curly brace and ending with close curly brace, right? Similarly, if you are writing something, then condition, then you are inputting curly braces. So that's how Java understand that this is a block of code within if. Or when you write constructor, we'll discuss constructor later, but when you write constructor again is a having the same name as class name. When you write constructor, again it will, I mean, you should have curly braces, open and closing curly braces. When you write for loop, inside for loop we have three conditions. So I'll just, then we need to input like this. Then you will then Java will understand that this is a entire block of code for loop. For loop. Making sense, guys?
Yes, Nathan.
Okay.
Yes.
So you are making a note of anything, or I mean you will just get the soft copy from me.
I am making a note of it
Okay,
just
okay.
so that I can just verify, like go through
Yeah,
it
yeah,
once.
yeah. Maybe you can
Yeah, same here.
just note down some points, some important points.
Yes.
Yeah. So one more thing. So yesterday we discussed. So Java supports explicit declaration of variable. No implicit declaration. Can anyone tell me what is explicit declaration?
So explicit declaration contains a data type. So for
Mhm.
example, if we write int a is equal to 10,
Mhm.
it is explicit declaration. But if
Okay.
we mention this as like just a is equal to 10 without the variable, it is implicit.
And if I write like int a later, then is it implicit or explicit?
Come again.
So first I am assigning a value 10 to a, and then I am declaring that with a
No,
data
it
type.
is not. No, for a, I mean that 10 value would be assigned to a, as you are writing after the, I mean, int. Data type should be there. That is the explicit declaration.
So this is explicit or implicit?
This is implicit.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, a equals to 10 is implicit.
And Satara, you understanding, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So one more thing. Yeah, so when you I'll just tell you the folder structure also. So when you create your project here and your package and classes here, what happens inside the folders, right? If you go inside this, I will have something called Selenium training. This is the one, right? Selenium batch, then SRC basics demo. So this is how the classes are there in your inside your C folder. So if you see your workspace, right, I have created one workspace with Selenium batch with name is Selenium batch. Inside Selenium batch, there are two folders already: dot settings folder, okay, and then bin folder, and SRC is somewhere something where your Java class will be available. Java file will be available. And inside bin you can see the dot class file. So this is what we have created, demo. If I create another class here, let's say, let me create another class. Let's say demo 2. With public static void manage main method. And when I save that, already saved. And when I go to this, you will find another dot class file with demo2 name inside bin folder. And inside SRC folder, you will find another demo2 class with .java name. So whenever you are sharing, whenever you want to share your files with someone, you can just take directly from here, from bin folder. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the folder structure.
And suppose if I don't remember the path, then from here also we can go to that path, right? From Eclipse.
So here also you can, if you want to import anything from here, right?
I want to see the path of that folder from Eclipse. Properties, right?
Yeah, properties, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I was not able to see that in my, that's why I just asked you.
See, this is the
okay,
output.
Yeah.
So Selenium batch is your project name.
Project
and then
name.
inside that you have called win folder, and there you will find this class.
Yes.
Selenium batch, then inside that win folder, and then we have pretty done on the syntax part. Now we will quickly start with arrays, a brief intro of array. Maybe before the array I should just cover strings, because array will have some sort of string related concepts also. So a string, guys, as I told you, that's a sequence of character, right? So whatever you define within double quotes is considered as a string. So a string should start with capital S followed by a variable name, right? And then whatever you are mentioning in double quotes, that is a string, right? It is a sequence of character. Example, as in, I mean, you can input a small case also. You can input a string str1 equal to capital case also. Let's say Nitin. Or string having character as well as digits, that is also fine. And again, this will be considered as string. Only digits, that is also fine. So that again will be considered as a string. No problem. If you declare string str3 equal to 123, then this is not a string. Then compiler will give you error that please change the type, right? It's a type
Is
mismatch.
integer.
Yeah, type mismatch issue. Please change the type from string to int. Okay. Anything which is having special character, right? At the rate or a dollar or hash or ampersand, semicolon or anything is a string only. So Java considers this as a string only. So you can print directly, right? Whenever you want to print a string, you can print directly by using the string name, str4. If I run this, I will get output with the error. So this is the error. You can see this as this whatever you inputted within double quotes is printed here. Fine. And we do have multiple built-in methods which we can use to perform operations on a string, like char, chars, put point, compare to, then concat, contains, equals, ends with. Then we have lots of methods which are already there within Java APIs, can be used for a string. One method is called string.length, which gives the length of the string. So the return type of this is integer. Integer, let's say len. I can directly print the length of the string. So this str is Nitin, right? So what's the length of this string, guys?
Fine.
Okay.
4.
Okay. Why 4, Disha?
Index starting from 0, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So indexing, how the indexing
No.
is same as length?
No, it will be 5. I'm confused.
Okay, okay. So
Not sure.
indexing is different,
Yeah.
Disha.
Okay,
That's
okay.
a address of the string, right? It's not
Oh, yeah.
same as length of a string. So you will get 5 as input output. If I write Nitin is space my name, then what will be the length of the string?
16.
16 including space.
Including his space. Okay. Now,
17.
okay. Right. So 17. Yeah, that's fine. So my point here is even the spaces have the has the count in length. Okay.
Mhm.
So all the spaces should be considered in the string length only. Indexes starts from 0. So when we do any operations on the string, we will look into that part also. Like we need to take care of indexes also. So that's the pretty brief on a string. Now we will quickly come on arrays. All right, so arrays. Let me just, string is a sequence of character. Okay, coming to array. So guys, what is array? What's your current understanding on arrays?
I have no clue about it. I mean, I have learned like way during my college, but then I don't remember it.
Disha?
Collection of objects of same data type.
Okay, why we need that?
We need that. I mean, if there is something which we want to evaluate, which is given in the range, okay. In that case, we need array.
Mhm. So is it a static array or dynamic array?
It can be static or dynamic, as in, yeah, it will be a dynamic.
It will be dynamic. Okay. Okay. So and your point is right. So array is a collection of same data type element, right? So right now I have int a equal to 10. Now the limitation of with this variable is I can only store one value in this, right? Let's say I want to have multiple values within this with multiple indexes. Let's say I want to have 5 values within this. Then how will I store in the same variable? I need to declare a array variable wherein I can store 5 values here. New int or rather just declare so I have now array variable with name a, right, which can store 5 values within this. Or I can declare like this int
5 value as in this 5 values only, right?
these 5 values only, yeah. Int b 5, int b equal to new int 5. So this is the another method of declaring a array with 5 values, right? So I can store 5 values within this array. So array is a collection of similar data type. Int a, this is a syntax, and array is a collection of similar data type. Array is a index based, and index starts from 0 to until where?
0 to until the length of the array.
Length of the array. Okay. So here in case of uh, uh, this variable a, what is the length of array? If I print C, so a dot length, what is the length of array?
It should be 5.
Yeah, that's correct. That's 5, right? So we have 5 elements in array. That will become the length of array. Okay, and the indexes starts from
Okay.
0.
Okay.
Okay, so it should be length minus 1. Let's say I have n elements in an array, then indexes will be until n minus 1 only.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Got it? And if you want to print this, right, Disha, if I print like A5, it will throw an exception, array index out of bound, because you are trying to access the element which is at fifth index.
Index.
We don't have anything there. So that's the reason it's throwing an exception, array index out of bound. Okay. So indexes are always n minus 1.
Length minus 1. Yeah.
Yeah, length minus 1. Each item in array is called an element. Okay, so we call them as element. So this is my first element. This is my first element. This is my second element. This is my third element. This is fourth, and this is fifth element. Next one is array is a static. Arrays are static in nature. So when you define array initially with size 5, right? And now if there is a requirement for you to add an element on 6th position or maybe on 5th index, you will not have that option, because you already defined an array with 5 with value as 5, right? So if I want to store anything on b 5th, 5 equal to, let's say, 10, it won't give you any error compile time, but when you run this, you will get an error, array index out of 1. So that's why the array are called as static in nature.
I didn't understand this.
Okay, so we have declared array b with size as 5 or length as 5, right? Right, so we have 5 elements starting with index 0 until 4. Correct. And now what we are doing, we are trying to put an value 10 at index 5. Right, we don't have that. I mean, we have not defined initially that. Let me just draw a diagram and let you know. Paint. So let's say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is array B. I have 5 elements, right? The first element starting with index 0. Right, and I do have 5 elements in this. I mean, I don't have right now 5 elements. Those are blank. I will have to input those elements. Right now, what I am doing, I am just trying to input value at index 6 of array B, which does not exist. Right. So that's the reason arrays are dynamic, static in nature.
Okay.
Okay, getting my
So
point?
if we have to, we want to declare, write it, then we have to again either change the value, or
Mhm.
can we declare it again?
So yeah, when we can declare it again, right? When we can move it to 6 also.
Like 6.
Yeah. So
Okay.
now it won't give any error. If I run this now, it won't give any error. It will save the value as 10. It's saved, right? But in real time, it's not like when you will have 1,000 lines of code, and you won't remember like where you have declared your array with what size. And in our program, that is fine. We are just adding another 5 elements. I mean, instead of 5, now we want 10. So that is fine, right? But in practical world, it's not possible. So we have another uh, a topic in Java called array list. So that's a dynamic data structure where we don't have any boundation of size. Let me take the example. So if I have array list starting with integer list equal to new array list. So I will have to import this java.util page. I don't have anything. I don't have any condition here. I can add these many integers only. I can add 10. I can add 20. I can add, let's say, 100. I can add, let's say, 500. So as of now, I have added 4 values, and if I want to print this list, I can print directly. It's giving 10, 20, 100, and 400. And after that, if I want to add anything, let's say list dot add, let's say 590, list dot add, let's say 340. So I don't have any issue here. That's a dynamic data structure. Again, if you print this, you will see two another values are added to the list, right? So that's the, I mean, that's how they have overcome the limitation of the static array.
Okay.
Is it clear, Disha?
Yeah, it is clear. Can you keep this for a minute, just
Yeah.
for syntax?
Yeah. So if I don't give any generic here, okay, so this is called as generic array. I can add strings also here. List dot add, comma, let's say Nitin. List dot add, let's say Java. And if you print that, you will see Nitin and Java also added in the array. But here we don't have
Yeah.
that option, Disha. I can add only integer values there.
Yes.
Yeah. So this comes under collection framework. Array list comes under collection. We'll see that also when we will be like discussing about collection framework.
Yeah, I have copied.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a bit about array. Moving on to the next topic, that's Java input output. So guys, I mean, as of now, what we are seeing, we are working on the static values, right? So uh, in your program this morning, what when you are checking if the person is eligible to vote or not, you are taking the value from the program itself, right? What if I want to take value from what if I want to take input from user, right? And then I want to check whether the person is eligible to vote or not, right? So for that we have a Java input output, right? So if you want to read data from input devices, it like keyboard or mouse, or if you want to read data from files, let's say a text file or XLX file, or from automation project if you want to read data from application objects. Object as in let's say I have some value in a username field and I want to read that value. So I want to read that value and then I want to verify whether the username is correct or not. So likewise during automation project also I want to read that value. So that's for inputting the value to a program. Next would be output, return output. So as of now, we are seeing output is on console. So we are returning output on console only. We are writing the data on console. Second is if we want to write data on external device, to external device. So that also can be a possibility. Right. So for that we have Java input output methods. We'll see when we will be like talking about this topic in detail. So how to take input from keyboard or mouse, how to take input from XLS file, how to return output to console. When console output we are anyway seeing using CISO only. How to return output to external device. Clear, guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next, I mean, we are having about 3-4 more topics before we can get into the more details. The first is methods. What is method in Java? Before method, okay, first we'll finish method, then only we'll talk about oops concepts. Okay, so what is a method in Java? We have main method. By default, we have main method, and we can have user-defined method also. So what is method in Java? Why we have that?
So method is basically, as you said, it is block of code.
Mhm.
Maybe we can pass, like enter information, pass data, conditions, and parameters,
Okay.
and it will run when it is called.
Okay. Why we have those?
So that we can enter all the instructions, as in we can use parameters, we can pass the data, and it will run only when it is called. Like if the method is not mentioned, program will not run. Like Disha said, like Disha did, the main method was not available, so it did not run the entire code.
Okay.
Because there was no instruction, or maybe there was no code. I mean, code was available, but it did not know what to run.
What if I write everything within main method? Why we need separate methods apart from main method?
If we don't want to run, suppose I have written two methods, addition and subtraction in a class, and I just want to perform the add method, then I will just call add method in the main method. So the execution will start, as you said, execution starts in main method. So it will perform only addition method, and it won't perform the other method, which is subtraction.
Hmm.
So whatever method we want to call, we can call it inside the main method, and we can perform the program. I mean, we can perform our task.
Okay, that is fine. But why we need my additional method, add method? And whatever the logic you are writing in add method, I mean, we can directly put that logic within main method, and we can, get the desired output. Why there is a need of having a separate method?
Not to put whole code, not to dump whole code in a one method. Whenever
Okay.
it is needed, we can call only that particular method.
So what it does when you need, when you want to perform add, you are calling that method. So how it is benefiting you? You're not writing same code again and again, right?
Yeah, correct.
You are already having the method, right?
Mhm.
And whenever you need addition of 2 or 3 or 4 digits or more digits, you will simply call that method and get the output. So it is eventually increasing the code reusability.
Yeah.
So that's why we have method, right? If we want to perform same operations again and again, right, then we will put that logic within method, and we will call that method whenever we need that. Making sense, Sutara?
Can you repeat that again, please?
Yeah. So let me take the example also. So let's say I have int I equal to 10, int j equal to 20. Now what I want, CISO of, let's say I have int a equal to I plus j, and I want to print a here. Okay, that is one instance. Now after some time I am inputting int, let's say p equal to 50, int q equal to 40. Again I want, let's say int a1 equal to p plus q, and then I want to print this, let's say a1, right? And if I run this program, I'm getting 30 as output for a and 90 as output for a1. Okay, instead of this, if I write public void add, which is taking input of two values, let's say int a and int b, then I am adding int c equal to a plus b, and then I am returning c, and instead of void I'll add here as int. Okay, and then from here if I call that method public static, I will have to make this static int a equal to add dot add 10, 20, or int a1 equal to add 50, 40. If I run this program, I'll again get the same output.
A semicolon is missing.
Same, line 11.
Line 11, okay. 30,90. So can you see the difference, Disha? Sorry, Sitara. So I don't need these two lines now. I don't need these two lines now. Okay. I can directly call this method. Even I can call this method directly within this. I can call this method directly. See, you are still getting the same output. Let's say if I want to do this 100 times, right? I want to call add method 100 times, then I can reuse this method, which is already there. It is performing some operation for you. It is what it is doing. It is doing the addition of two integer and returning you.
Okay.
Getting point. So whenever you want to perform, same operation again and again, then you need to write methods or functions, whatever we had in C, right? C or C++. So in Java, we call them as methods, and they are actually making your, life easier in terms of, writing the same code again and again, in terms of code reusability, in terms of, code understandability also, right? And whenever you have multiple methods in a class or in a, project, then it makes your life easier in terms of understanding the code also, right? And if there is any error, you can directly go to that method and clear that error. Otherwise, looking into the code from the main method itself would be a challenging task. Then you have 1,000 or maybe 10,000 lines of code. Okay, so this is the use of method, and likewise we can have several methods in a program.
I understood this, but we wrote a public void first, right? Public void add, and then as we, as we declared integers, then we converted that as public static int. Can you just explain that?
Yeah. So void as in you don't want any return from this method. So void is null. If I don't want any output from this method, I need to put void. Okay, and whenever I want some output from the method, I need to define the type of that, return. So as of now, I want integer return type, integer type of return. That's why I kept int here. If I want
to
write
one void, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Tell me the void.
Can we take one example of a void in this program only? Keep it as static int add, there should be there. I mean, keep it likewise, and then add one more method using void.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Void, and you want int here, right?
Yeah,
See,
correct.
this is giving error.
Same method name and
same method name will not work because that's a method overriding. Okay, we'll come to that point. Overloading, yeah, that will come to that point. So we have two methods, add and add one, right? Method name is different. We are doing the same operation here. We are taking the input of two values. We are adding them and putting that in C. And we are trying to return that. Now it is giving the error here that void methods cannot return a value.
Then what is the use of void, I mean, while writing methods?
So if you are
While
not returning
defining
anything,
methods.
just you need to input void. That's a syntax. Okay, if I remove void, then also it will give a it will take default it will say the return type of method is missing. You need to input either void or any return type.
Okay.
Okay, so this class is going to end, guys, in another minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll discuss that in detail when we will be discussing about the syntax of methods and all. Static is something which is related to OOPS concept. So once I'll be discussing about OOPS concept, I'll let you know what is static and non-static.
Sure.
Yeah. So am I still visible? I'm still visible, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is a method? Method is a set of statement to perform operation. Why we need method?